Statistics states there's 75% of people have had sex before the age of 20, while 95% of people have had sex before the age of 44 premarital sex. Sex before marriage, the controversy.
Hello everyone, it's another exciting episode of No Limit Show with FloRich. Today we are in the city of Lagos. We want to find out, what do people think about the topic sex before marriage? Should they involve in sex before marriage? Should they not involve in sex before marriage? Let's find out.
Actually, sex before marriage, there's nothing wrong with that.
I'll tell you, biblically, it's not good.
It's a matter of choice. If the two people decided to do it before they wed, it's their choice.
In marriage before sex, what's your reason?
Because you have to engage before you have anything like sex or something like that.
I feel whatever is comfortable for you, you do it. Whatever you feel you want to do, whatever you feel is right. It doesn't matter, sex before marriage or abstaining from sex. It doesn't matter. Whatever you feel like doing.
To me, I feel like everybody has different opinion. Okay, firstly, it's inside Bible, whereby I don't really know where it's inside Bible to quote it, but to me, sex before marriage is not good for the youth.
But I don't think it's ideal for teenagers. But the youth are better to do that.
I feel like it's based on understanding between two parties, and no time has changed. It's not like our parents' days when it has to be a daughter affair that you have to remain a virgin or you have to get married to this person. Time has changed. The other party might be from a religious background. The other party might have had his own past stories. So I feel like it's based on understanding and the hearts. And there's this saying that says, the devil you know is better than the devil you do not know. So it's just based on understanding and how you guys, the way you see things.
But still, someone have to be very careful. Because when you're talking about sex, you just have to take your time to know who the person is before you have the sex with him. Because it might end up with pregnancy. And at the end of the day, the person might reject the pregnancy. But all the same, marriage of today, to know who you are dealing with, I think sex is welcome. But when it is teens age, I'll write that off.
Eventually get married to that's your spouse. It could be the male or it could be the opposite side, the female. Now most times some women or some men want to be sexually satisfied with their wife or their husband. Now when you marry someone and you don't know their sexual performance, now you tend to have problem. Now this problem is that, okay fine, you want to start learning on how to teach your wife or your husband how to satisfy you in bed. But some people don't have that patience. They want that immediate satisfaction. So that is why I said Bible is not good. But the other hand, if you look at it like in the world aspect, it's good. For me, I would like to know the sexual performance of my wife.
or welcome to the No Limit Show with FloRich. And I am your girl, Blessing Kilwell, aka FloRich. Here with me is a special guest that's back on set with us, and his name is Benjamin.
Hi everyone, my name is Ekoro Benjamin. I'm a life and relationship coach, and I help people to move from their insecure to their secure self emotionally. And it's good to be here once again.
I'm glad to have you on set. And so, Benjamin, we're here to basically debate on this topic, okay? It's a broad topic. A lot of people, believe me, it's a controversial topic.
Sure.
You know, people have strong opinions about having sex before marriage. Some people think, no, it's a sin, especially the religious people, right? No, it's a sin. What's your take on it? Do you stand for or do you stand against it?
I stand for, not having sex before marriage.
Okay.
Probably because of my religious background.
Okay.
Which in Christianity, it's usually advised to not have sex before marriage. So I try to adhere with that.
Okay. But I mean, does that mean just because your religious background says do not have sex before marriage, does that mean that people really keep to that? Because I believe that it's okay to have sex before marriage, because one of the reasons marriages or people divorce in marriages is as a result of sex. And I think what better way to know your partner if you don't engage in premarital sex?
Well, you do have a point, but you should know that aside sex and sexual intimacy and all that bonding, you still have some other steps to look at before you get there. So you want to know the partner you're with. Is he the kind of person that we can have conversation psychologically? Is he accepted in my social circle? Is it emotionally and all that secure, to meet my needs? But sometimes when you engage in sex first, before going through all those phases, you are often blocked from seeing the person, because a lot of emotions are flying. When you talk about the honeymoon stage, a lot of emotions are flying. And couple that with sex, a lot of things are going to go wrong, basically. This is aside religious sentiments. This is aside being a religious person. Even because research has even gone to show that people who engage in not having sex before marriage, have more satisfaction in relationship, in their marriages. They are less likely to think about divorce. They have good rapport with their partners.
Well, I don't believe in it, because my point of view is, if you don't test the water, how would you know? Okay, I've had situations where people go into marriage without knowing their partner, without engaging in premarital sex, and then they find out that he's a 1 minute man. Then how do you handle that? Do you now tell them to divorce? I've also had situations where people say, oh, my partner, when we were courting, I didn't know that he was impotent, or he couldn't have had-ons until I entered the marriage. He deprived me of sex, and then a week later, I found out that this man was not having had-ons, and they're contemplating divorce. I feel like if you engage in premarital sex, you would know if he's a 1 minute man or 1 second man or 30 minutes man. And then if he's a 1 minute man, you tell him, good, my brother, oh, we cannot continue like this, because it's very important. It's a lifetime thing.
Yeah.
So, how do you tell me to go into a relationship or marry somebody without knowing whether this man is good, without knowing his full resume? No, I need to know his full CV, what is there, the packaging.
Yeah, I get your point. I get what you're trying to say. Even though if you have to look at it in another way, sometimes is, how did you get to know that he's good or he's not good? If you haven't tested it before, how would you know? It's like you have been eating your mom's food for all your life. That's the best food you have in this life, to you. If you are being frank, that's the best food. The only issue comes when you've probably eaten Amaka food and eating Chidima's food. You know, now you start comparing. Amaka's food has more salt. I don't like her food. You know, this one, his food is okay. She knows how to pound the pounded yam very well. The only reason you are there is just because you have tested, you have checked this. And when you talked about, what about meeting a man, he's a 1 minute man, you have things to help him. It's only if you're thinking on black and white, you don't know how to do it, then get out.
But how can you help somebody that do not want to be helped? Because this is a sensitive topic. You meet a man and then you have sex with him, or you guys are married and then you have sex the first night and it's not sexually good. And then you tell him, honey, you're not, can we improve on our sex life? He will tell you you're the problem.
You see, just your points are always right. They are valid. But you should understand, they're valid. But you should understand, when we talked about meeting a partner that is secure, that is able to validate your feelings, your needs and all that. So the partner is grounded in himself. It's like you're making a mistake about something and you're trying to become better in what you do. If you're a partner that is grounded in who you are, honey, I understand. Okay, what can we do? So it's you and your partner against the issue. What's the issue? Sexual insatisfaction. So what is the thing that can be done against it? There are things to help you.
So what if this partner is adamant and they don't want to fix the issue?
That is the beginning. In the beginning it wasn't so. If you had settled some of those things in the beginning.
But how do you settle it if you don't engage in it? Because believe it or not, in the churches today, the topic of sex, even when you go through counseling, that's one topic counselors, or let's say pastors, are shy to talk about. They don't talk about sex. And when you go to the pastor and say, Pastor, my woman is not satisfying me, or my man is not satisfying, they'll tell you, go and pray about it. Is it that God did not hear you before you married this person, or what was the issue? Why is it that the church does not talk about this? Why is it that they don't talk about sex?
Well, like you said, why is it that the church do not do that? I don't know their own reasons. A lot of people have reasons for doing a lot of things. Sometimes they think they want to shield people from whatever thing. But what I know is what I'm trying to say and what I'm going to say, which is, when you want to do something, aside meeting a partner that is good for you, that validates your needs, right? You want to start that with a partner like that. If the partner is flexible, right, and you were able to set that precedence from the beginning, that this partner is flexible, then all these other things usually will fall into place. I understand the fact that people will say, I need to test, to test the waters, I need to know. And like I said, when you go and buy a car, if the car is terrible, you pay before you start to use the car, isn't it? You don't tell them that, I need to check, I need to drive from here to this location to test if the tires are working. Why are you so comfortable in doing that for a car? But when it comes to a partner, you say you want to test. Aside we know, there are research that say, there are some people that don't want commitment. They just want to have sex. So they can bring a lot of reasons for wanting to have sex. And at the end of the day also, living religious sentiment, there's still research that shows that it helps, because if you are connecting with someone, you want to know, am I moved by this person's, able to perform than who the person really is. So you want to know this person for who the person is. Or, it's like when you are thinking if someone loves you for money or for who you are, right? So sometimes you see people say, I don't have to, let's not talk about money first, so that your head can be, it's the same thing with sex. Sex, aside procreation, sex is also for bonding as couples, you know. And when you start having sex with someone, there are a lot of emotions that go into it.
Okay.
The reason people don't leave some relationship is because they're having sex. They find it
Right.
hard to leave the relationship
the
because
sex is
a
good.
lot, either the sex is good, you know, when you have sex, emotions are tied into it. So when you have given so much, you try, you know, to salvage it. But it's quite easy when you've not really had sex that much, you know, in a relationship and the person is misbehaving.
Right.
It's easy for you to leave that kind of a relationship than when so much of your emotions are in, you know, you have done a lot of styles and a lot of acrobatic things, you know, and so it becomes tricky. So is it that, oh, you should not have or you should have? Religiously, people will say, oh, don't have. But what most times they don't tell you that why you shouldn't have is, aside God saying don't have, he has a reason, which is some of this reason we are saying that facts and research are showing. You know, you have to connect with someone emotionally,
Right.
you know, psychologically,
Right.
socially. There are a lot of steps that has to follow before it gets there. But if you start with the sex or the physical aspect, which is usually the ending, because if you look at it before marriage, you connect with the person psychologically,
Right.
socially, you know, mentally and all that. Then after marriage, you now delve into physically. Then this other one start going. But if you start with sex, you know, it now looks somehow.
I think you should be able to have all of those connections, and then definitely premarital sex should come in. And I mean, because you want to know if you're compatible, because you can be physically compatible with somebody but not sexually compatible with somebody, you know. So you want to make sure the person is checking all of the boxes. That's what I personally think, because if the person is not checking all of the boxes, and then when it's time for you guys to, when it's after the wedding, it's over, both of you are together in the house, and you're not sexually compatible, I feel like that's a disaster waiting to happen. Yes, you say that there are things that people can do, things people can do to help with their sexual life, but not everyone is open-minded to search. Some people, I've heard issues, situations, or I've read situations online, or I've heard from people where their partners are adamant, they feel they're not the problem, so they're not seeking for solution. They feel like they're okay with who they are. You know, so I feel like sexual compatibility is very, 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 very important, because you're talking about spending a lifetime with this person. Yes, somehow, somewhere, you know, doubts might change along the line where, you know, things might happen, maybe health-wise, the person might not be able to satisfy you sexually, but you know that, okay, yes, this person once upon a time could satisfy me, but all of a sudden they're no longer capable. Then that's when you begin to seek help. But not when, I don't know if we're sexually compatible, and then we go into it, and then I marry you, and then I find out that you have problems, and we're not able to fix the problems. Isn't that why you think the divorce rate in the churches are higher?
Aside the fact that a lot of people are not vulnerable, because, like we always say, know yourself. Right? Just like when I talked about getting an iPhone and getting an Android. You know what you're getting into. You know the capacity of the phone. You know the RAM, you know the camera specs and all that. You know, you as a person that is going to get married, if you have issues, you will know. If you don't know, at least there are tests you will do in the clinic. Go for those tests. Check yourself, you know, just to be sure. You can't just assume you are okay. You need to be sure you are okay. You need to know that you are okay.
So what you're suggesting is couples should check themselves medically before marriage.
Yeah, that should be a normal thing. There are other tests that can be done in those areas for couples or as a partner. I think where the issue is that people are not addressing, you know, is people tend not to be vulnerable enough to open to their spouse. You know you
regarding
are not
their
good.
Sexuality.
Yes. You know you're not good. You know you're not flexible, and you're adamant to work on yourself. Right?
So would you advise such couple to get a divorce
Well,
if they're not able to fix the problem?
Because that was usually what will happen. If nobody is
Or
trying
would you
to meet in
encourage
the
them
middle,
to cheat?
no, it's rather you just leave it. If you are not rather to meet in the middle, because it seems like someone is not trying to take responsibility. Because there's no way that the both of you don't have your hands in it. So everyone should take their responsibility and fix the issue for the relationship. So it's you, your partner, for the relationship.
So what if you now find out that after marriage you now find out that this person is not good? Then what would you recommend that they do to help?
You have sexual therapists.
Okay.
You have people that teach and help couples that have sexual issues. You know, you can meet them, you can sort them out.
Okay.
It's no longer like before, whereby the sexuality, you have a lot of issues with it. Now you have people that will teach you and help you to understand. Because sometimes, you know, certain people, the issues they have with sex is usually from childhood. Imagine someone that has been raped, you know, from childhood. And that is like a pain point for that person.
So they see sex differently.
Yeah, he sees it differently. So while the husband is saying, oh, this person is not good, is not that, whereas we know that for you to compare, you probably have a picture of something somewhere. Right? So you are not accepting this particular one you are with.
Okay.
Right? Now, if the person is flexible enough, that's why I always advise to be with someone who is not fixed, who is flexible.
Okay.
You know, they are able to meet your needs, your basic needs, seen, heard, love for who you are. You know, and sometimes the way to help your partner to become better in what you want your partner to do is to first of all accept where they are and understand that it's a journey from there to where they are. But the problem is most times in those relationships and those marriages is you see the partners communicating unheardily with their partner. So you see them criticizing their partner,
Okay.
complaining, not only complaining, like criticizing, you know, speaking out of contempt, you know, to their partner. And what that does is it dismisses their feelings and it makes them feel they are not loved for who they are, or they are not seen and they are not heard.
So basically what you're saying that it's how you communicate
Very
this
important.
to your partner.
Communication is very important because everyone has a way they want to be communicated to.
Right.
Now, if your partner is telling you that this is how they want to be communicated to, it's advisable to communicate to them in that way.
So, I mean, in such situation, how would you communicate that to your partner? Hey, honey, you're not good in bed. Is that the right way to say it? Or is there a way to say it that will make it sound right?
The issue,
I mean,
sex, I notice you're not good in bed. That's okay. There's usually a script, you know, when to raise complaint about something. So it goes like, you know, hide the feeling and the issue.
okay.
So rather than say, you never satisfy me.
Okay.
You always don't satisfy me. I don't know why and all that. It's easy to say, okay, babe, you know, I understand that probably you're not that good with this, or I don't feel satisfied. I know that probably my libido is higher, but I understand that probably your libido is not high. So you see what I'm saying right now. I'm first of all validating that I understand where you are, right? So, babe, is there a way we
work
can
on this?
work on this? Is this something you think? I'm not trying to force it on you,
Right.
because it's a request. You're already in it. I'm not trying to force it on you. You know? Is there a way that, you know, we could work on this, and you know, and look for ways whereby it's a win-win?
Yeah.
You know, okay. Let's say, for example, you see people that would say, "I want it every day." You know. And you see someone that says, no, I can't do every day. You know, okay, where can you meet in the middle?
Middle,
It's not black and white. Where can we meet in the middle, whereby each partner is heard, is seen, is loved for who they are.
Right.
They are validated.
Right.
Oh, I don't really like sex that much. Yeah, I know you don't really like it that much. I know you're not that good at it. But is there something you can do,
Right.
you know, to help me also?
Right.
And if the person is flexible enough to validate your feelings and your needs, they will be able to want to salvage and help the relationship. The issue now comes when they are fixed. and they're not
Okay.
even ready to even do anything.
Right.
And pride and ego comes in.
Right.
You know, oh, don't worry, other people can do that for me.
Right.
You know, and
Right.
that's where the issues start coming in.
Or perhaps you could actually make suggestions to your partners too. You could, if maybe it's the positioning or the styles that you're not enjoying or they're not flexible in bed, you could either, you know, maybe read books, I guess,
Definitely.
on it, or watch movie, or
Definitely.
or something. But you know, in our African culture, right, you know, the way Africans think about sex, you mentioned something about seeing a therapist if you and your partner are struggling in that department. I don't know if an African person, let me just say an African man, you know, I don't know if an African man will want to go sit in front of a therapist and discuss their business like that.
Yeah, I understand that. And
So I mean, I don't know. I can't just imagine an African man going to sit in front of a therapist, another person, and be discussing their sexual life. Oh, therapist, I'm not good in bed. What other solutions? What other method or what solutions can you provide besides seeing a therapist?
yeah, the truth is, most men basically, you know, both African and all that, you know, they tend to dismiss and avoid things like that, you know, because of ego and all that. It's not really ego, it's really ego. Yeah, because of that and all that, you know, they tend to dismiss. Aside, you know, most African men can be dismissive and avoidant a lot. So they dismiss those kind of things and you wouldn't blame them. You know, the foundation has a lot of issues. Most of our homes, they didn't talk about sex, you know. And so if we are able to solve some of those foundational issues, right, they will be able to be free enough to talk about it and be open about it. Because at the end of the day, it's for the benefit of the relationship,
Right.
the benefit of the marriage, that the two couples, you know, they come together and solve their issues for the marriage. And communicate in a better way, basically.
Right. And then I also noticed that a lot of African women, if you go online, you see a lot of women complaining how some of them have never had orgasm and their husband don't sexually satisfy them. It's all about the man. Once he comes and that's it. The woman does not have orgasm. They don't even know what it is. Some of them resort to using sex toys. Like our life coach Benjamin rightly said, have conversations, sit down with your partner. First of all, you don't want to be with a partner that you cannot communicate your feelings with. So sit with your partner, have an honest conversation about this thing, because it is very important that both parties are satisfied about, you know, how you feel. You want to be satisfied, he wants to be satisfied. Both of you should be sexually satisfied. It shouldn't be a one-sided thing. And as a man, you should ask your partner, you should ask your woman, how would you like it? How do you like to be touched? Where do you want me to touch you? What makes you come? What gives you that pleasure? And then explore each other's bodies too. Make sure you explore each other's bodies. Read books together on sex. You know, talk about it. Have conversations. I still believe that you should have sex before marriage, but if you're against the opinion, then make sure you do your own work. Talk about these things before marriage. Don't wait until after marriage. Even when you go for counseling, make sure both of you sit down and have this conversation, because at the end of the day, it's between both of you.
Sure.
It takes two to make it work. Thank you again for joining today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, you have a great day.